Okay, so now we're gonna do, as Monty Python would say, something completely different. And this is Midway. So we've been talking about the Appleton Fault Zone, Golden Glove, Big Vein, Pristine. Pristine's gone missing off here. Now we're going to go to Midway, which is about 2 kilometers or 2.7 kilometers north of Big Vein. And this area was interesting right from when we started working on the property in 2020. This cracker showing occurrence is a historic gold showing. I think they had grab samples from there up to about 67 grams a ton, and a bunch are in the 30s. And they were hosted in quartz veins hosted by gabbro. Now, gabbros are mafic igneous rocks, and so completely different from the sedimentary rocks that host the quartz veins at Big Vein, Golden Glove, and Pristine. And so what we did here was we were following up soil samples, and again there were blind targets, and I think we drilled 4 holes there as well at Midway, and the first few holes that we got back for results were actually pretty good. Again, they're not barn burning high grade intersections, but 5.7 over 3 meters and 3.5 grams over 6 meters is pretty good. It's pretty good in most parts of the world. But the interesting thing about this is that it's hosted in these gabbros, and we believe that this is an entirely different, well, it is a different system in terms of its host rocks being in gabbros rather than sediments, quartz veins and sediments. And that opens up a huge part of this property for the discovery of these kinds of this kind of mineralization. So not only do we have the Appleton Fault Zone, which is obviously going to continue to be the area that we're targeting the most, but we do have these gabbroic hosted gold mineralized areas that we can follow up. So this shown here between Cracker and Midway is about 1.5 kilometers, but the real potential is shown on, I thought it was going to be on this slide. It's actually going to be on the next slide. Don't you hate it when that happens?
I was waiting for it too.
Well, I'm not sure what we're showing here, but I think I've said most of this. It really is a different mineralized system. It is strongly altered. These gabbros are strongly altered, and instead of being hosted by quartz veins, it's actually disseminated mineralization in the gabbro. And it's associated with pyrite and arsenopyrite, and I think this is a case where, for example, you'd have a physical precipitation of gold out of solution, because you have these iron-rich gabbros that can destabilize the complexes that are carrying the gold, and the gold can fall out of solution. And you also have a contrast. A rheological contrast between the gabbros and the sediments, which also help precipitate the gold out of solution and into these gabbros. Now, okay, this is the slide I was talking about earlier, where there's more than just 1.5 kilometers of potential between Midway and Cracker. So this is now the entire property, Kingsway property, all 3 licenses. And right in the south here, just off our property boundary down here, is a showing called the Virginia showing. It's a historic gold showing. Again, it's gold hosting gabbro. I think they had, if I remember correctly, grab samples up to about 100 grams a ton in that gabbroic system down there. Then we come up to Midway. That's probably about 5 or 6 kilometers, maybe more, between Virginia and gabbro. Then you got kilometer there. And then way off at the top here is Lucky Moose, another gold in gabbro occurrence. So what I've done here is put a trend. Let's call it the gabbro trend, up through these four occurrences. I believe that this trend probably represents another structure that would be in between the Appleton Fault Zone, shown here, and the Dog Bay line, shown over on the west. And what I think is happening is that these gabbros are coming up along this structure. They're intruding. They are intrusive rocks, so they intrude up along this structure, and at some point they solidify and later get enriched with gold. Now, how that enrichment happens, does it happen all the way along there in all these gabbros, or just in specific gabbros? That remains to be seen. Again, I think structure will be a big part of it, but it's certainly a good exploration target that we will spend some time looking at. But again, the Appleton Fault Zone is the star, and we'll continue to do most of the work along it, with secondary work being along this gabbro trend.